Why did the pain come back when I was cleaning my cupboards? Somebody who had sciatic for 6 months, persistent pain, back pain, leg pain, no trauma at its origin, no physical explanation. They weren't pushed down the stairs. They didn't have a car crash. They didn't have an explainable event that would justify a level of pain that is agony, it's in the back, it's in the leg, and really debilitating. They did have some circumstances a few months before, grief of some loved ones, 2 in a few weeks, unfortunately. It's a tragic situation. And the person was the one that's kind of fixing and doing and sorting and delivering service and still dealing with some of the aspects of what's happened. That's the explanation for the ongoing pain. It's not in the head. The pupil size that changes with those things isn't in the head. The hairs on the back of the neck is not the head. The clenched fists that come through frustration is not in the person's head. The capillaries that squeeze in your stomach that make you feel sick or nervous is not in your head. The lack of ability to function sexually is not in your head. The immune system switching off to be in that survival mode for so long is not in your head. The adrenaline and cortisol coursing through 50 trillion cells every time you think about the situation is not in your head. It plays out in the body pretty fast. Now, if that's okay, if there's an actual exam or there's a fight or there's a sports day or there's something to deal with in the short term, but you cannot stay in that state for a long time, the body switches off. It regulates itself in the system being overloaded or the one being neglected, or a combination of both. It could be one system, it could be multiple systems, but they're all in survival mode and they can only do it for so long. That's human. It's normal to disassociate. We're not meant to feel ourselves physically when you're in the situation. Great. How advantageous is that? It allows us to survive so many things, physically, emotionally, psychologically. You have to choose to come out of that state if unfortunately you've been in it more than you would have chosen for yourself and the body's habituated the state. It's a habit. But that state will kill you quicker than death that's going to happen anyway. And pain comes before that, thankfully. It's a process of dis-ease, and that's pain, before disease, which is pain and disease. And then you need the medical community knocking on the door with wherever they can offer you. If you can recognise some of the circumstances in your life, like this lady did, she started to recover. No pain in the back, no pain in the leg, several weeks of that. And she said to me, why did the pain come back the last time I saw her? She's discharged now because she gets it and she's happy that she can deal with whatever pops up. Why did it come back? She said, all I was doing was clearing out a cupboard. Okay, so now a cupboard, cleaning out a cupboard, it's a kitchen cupboard, it was a certain height, so somebody of a certain age, this lady was in the 60s, reaching up, cleaning the cupboard, moving some cups. That does not physically damage the human body. It doesn't invalidate somebody who says I got pain doing that, because they did. She did, but she wasn't damaged. You don't need to be a physio to know that reaching up in the cupboard doesn't damage the human body, the shoulder, the neck, the back, or wherever the pain was. But the pain comes back not because what she's doing, it's how she was feeling when she does it. It is the intent of this nervous system state. Whose house were you in? Where were you doing it? What did it mean to you? Well, probate come through, and probate is a process that sometimes when people pass away, there's a process where legally you divide up the property and financial assets of the estate equally to people, and it goes through a legal process. So there's a pause almost in the grief process, if you're very familiar with this, and it's come through. So you can go ahead and empty the house and and she was emptying the house of a loved one that had died some months before the sciatic came on. So does that make sense in a moment of profound sadness? And it isn't just sadness. You'll recall whether you did enough or you didn't do enough, I should have done more, and he didn't do this, and she didn't do the other, and if only it had been different, and I wish it could have been better, and I remember the day of the death, and oh gosh, it was awful. So that is a human experience of reliving something very painful, and I have absolute compassion for that because I felt it myself. So I know what that feels like. If you haven't experienced that, you will, in some level, whether it's a dog, friends, colleagues, or family members. It's a painful physiological experience. The brain goes into a hyper vigilant state to almost say, what am I going to do? How can I possibly survive without that person in my life again that made me feel so loved, or so looked after, so cared for? And if it's a deep relationship, the polar opposite of that is more loss than if you didn't care diddly squat about them. So the more the love, the more the pain. Which is pleasure, pain, happiness, sadness. It's the way this dualistic universe plays out. You can't have one without the other. You can't just cherry pick the good emotions and I want them, or take praise for achievement and success and it's all me. When the bad things happen in life or the challenging emotions appear, you're responsible for how you feel about them too, and you're responsible for holding on to that space around that to allow your body to process it. You can't talk yourself out of that alone. You have to embody the sense of safety by holding the place for that. If you don't allow it to metabolize, it'll turn up somewhere else, because it's just a physiological mechanism of chemicals and reactions, like a science kit that's bubbling away, and it doesn't have a release. You watch what happens. As soon as you realise it was what else was going on as she cleaned out the cupboard, she softened. You saw it in her eyes, her pupils changed shape, shoulders dropped, her breath was deeper, face softened, and she knows she's going to be okay. It's over. Even if the pain comes back, and it will, with the emotion, until you detach your reactions from the emotion, you allow yourself to feel the sadness, feel the tears, feel the grief, feel the guilt or the blame. Allow it to pop up. Know that it's just your body remembering the event, the thoughts and the narrative that maybe is not true, it's just the feelings associated with it, and allow it to just pass through you. You disassociate the emotion from the pain because you feel the emotion. Listen, I'm 55, I'm getting better at this. I've got some practice to do. It's not easy. It does take practice. But if you wake up again tomorrow, and none of us know if we're going to or not, what a great opportunity to practice again. And if you get pain, what a great opportunity to have another go at it. Because if you don't change how you react to pain, you're really unlikely to change the pain. And that's not a blame game. That's normal, it's human. There's about 1.5 billion people in persistent pain across the world. So you're not alone. But there's other people who've experienced the same things and they're not in pain, and they've got the same structural changes, they're the same age, they're the same height, the same wear and tear, they get the same weather conditions, they get the same chair that you sat in that you think's the cause, you get the same mattress and the pillow you've changed a few times. It is not in these other conditions that appear with the pain, it is in the internal state that is the condition with the movement that drives the pain, and that can be changed.